Welcome to the Thin Blue Line Outdoors. My name is Cody Johnson, and I'll be your host.
I'm one happy hunter right now, man. Alright, guys. Here she is.
Here at the Thin Blue Line Outdoors, we have 3 goals. Show you a good time.
I just shot him.
Teach you something. Planting some clover down. And lead by example.
It's looking good. Great though. Congratulations. Thank you, sir.
If I can accomplish one of those 3, that's a win in my book. Thanks for listening. Be safe out there.
You do that clap so you can sync it up when you're editing.
Oh, should we clap again then?
Go ahead if you want. Boom.
What?
Alrighty. This is the Thin Blue Line Podcast, episode 13. I am with the Redneck and the Redcoat, Jesse and Ryan.
What up?
What's going on, everyone? We're back.
They were on the last podcast. It was a Zoom, but they are here in person. So we've been spending all day hanging deer stands, getting ready for this upcoming hunting season. I know we're all looking forward to it. It went fairly smooth. I mean, it could have been worse.
Yeah, we've had worse. It could have been way worse. Today was a good day.
I think we had a few close calls. I think Jesse had 3 times. I think we've got a couple on.
I only almost cut 2 branches to the face and 1 pole saw to the face. Typically, it's 3 pole saws to the face and about 4 branches, so we're good today.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We're getting better.
Yeah.
Totally getting better.
Improvement. But like I said, we've been out here working on the farm all day. We're all excited, hung some trail cams and stuff like that. So we talked about these guys on the fishing trip last time. That's getting good reviews, a lot of good views and stuff on that podcast. Nice. So again, I appreciate all the support.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta get closer there, Ryan. He's calling you out.
Thanks, everyone. We really appreciate it. Like, share, follow. Come on, give us some support.
So, real quick, I want you guys to almost reintroduce yourselves, kind of go more in depth with your backgrounds and how you got into hunting. Later on, we're going to be doing podcasts separate with both of them and go even more into detail. But just a quick rundown of what you do and stuff like that. So, whoever wants to start us out, don't be shy.
All right, as Boom introduced, I'm Jesse, the Redcoat, or not Redcoat.
Hey.
Oh my God. Wow, see? Jesse, the Redneck Sams. I am a family man. I got 3 sons and a beautiful wife who I'm going to meet up for swimming a little bit later today. I am a principal at an elementary school in Central Illinois, and I got into hunting later in life. I got into hunting after college, something that at my high school almost every other kid did. We had the opening day of deer season off. But nobody in my family at the time was really into hunting, and so it was hard for me to get in. In college, you're broke, so you can't get into it then. Plus, I played football, and football and hunting season are kind of overlapping most days. And so then I got out of college and started to get into it. Met Ryan. Him and I decided, let's go for it. Let's actually make a run at this hunting thing. One of our good friends, Josh Harkey, who hopefully we can get on this podcast at some point in time, talk to him. He kind of helped guide us through our first dove hunt, which was fun. Fun, we'll say. Fun and a little rough.
He says fun, I say rough. Fun overall.
And then from there, we just kind of started going out to the state parks and trying to do opening day shotgun season by showing up that day and going for it. And then I remember it was second season we were hunting at this state park in Oregon, Illinois, and we went out there miserable, got lost in the woods a couple times. I mean, we did these big circles, and we vowed that day that the next year we were going to do it right. And so found somebody who let us hunt on their private land, did the scouting, brought Boom out to help us scout, got some good spots, hung some tree cams, hung some stands, had a lot of trouble that first year. Ended up getting our first deer. It was my first deer ever. It was a button buck. The only deer at deer camp that year, and ever since then we've just been getting better and better. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at now.
Pass the mic on to the Brit. All the Americans running, the British are coming. It's Ryan, a.k.a. the Redcoat. I'm back, I'm live. I'm in the main place. My story's an interesting story. So as I say, it was,
No, it's not.
No, it's not really. It's exactly the same. It's exactly the same as Jesse's. My story started off. I was young though. I was very young. Fishing was my sort of passion when I was younger. The fly fishing, the trout, canal fishing back in Liverpool. So that was my sort of intro to the outdoors.
Wait, you're from England?
As I tell everybody we meet in any small town, he's just from the deep south. That's it.
The answer I typically get from them deep South Americans is, really? No, not at all. So that was my sort of intro to the outdoor life. But going back even further, it was the Boy Scouts and the Cubs and, you know, all that stuff. Really enjoyed the camping aspect and being out there in the wilderness. There's just something about it. I always keep saying that. So when I moved out here, I first met my wife's uncle, and he's sort of massive hunter. Butchie, big shout out to Butch. Man, if you got Butch on the podcast, he'd give you some advice there. But he lives to hunt. He seriously lives to hunt. You open his freezer, and when I first seen that, it was birds, wildlife, turkeys, you know, doves, fish, you know, you name it. Every month of the year, whether it's fishing or hunting, he's out there. So I really love that aspect of it. So I started hunting in Wisconsin, quickly learned out of state hunting, very expensive. The trips are usually long, the gas prices, the tag prices, very expensive. Anyway, Jesse, I met Jesse just after I got married to my wife. In fact, I think the first time I met you was at my wedding, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember meeting Jesse. I was hammered, but he remembers meeting me, and I think I remember him from the next day anyway. So that's when I got introduced to Jesse, and the first thing, as you mentioned there, we met Harky, who got us into the duck hunting. Amazing time. It was so funny. And then we finally got introduced to you, Boom, and that's where everything started really getting technical. And watching you and listening to you, it's like, oh, well, maybe there is a little bit more to this hunting type thing, because as Jesse mentioned, and I appreciated you mentioning that there, Jesse, because we started out in the state parks, you know, doing it all ourselves. Go on.
Sorry.
Yeah.
And that's not saying that you can't get deer in state parks, right? That's not what we're trying to say. What we're trying to say is how we started off, we wouldn't have gotten deer on private land either. It was show up to the land, never been there before, and just try to find a good tree. I mean, just to sit under, that was it. So state parks, you'll still find deer.
I think the first time I went to a state park, the day that I was due to hunt, I was setting up my tree stand the day of, you know. And that one didn't get taken down on time, and that one was taken by the state park. So when I went back there, they do that.
We won't go in with what you're actually...
No, I've got a great story. I wish I could share it online, but I really can't share that online. But it is an awesome story. Jesse and Boom know about it, and we laugh about it every year. So that one stays with us. So that one got took. But again, Jesse said, we're out there. You're on your own. You've got no idea. You know, you've just got to get out there. And I really appreciate that. And in fact, it was funny because I mentioned this today when we were setting up today. I wouldn't have wanted it any other way, because, you know, if you want something or you really enjoy something, or you want the best out of something, typically there's no easy way to get there. And all of that knowledge and information that we got from the early days, we're still using nowadays. So, you know, I always appreciated that. And even Jesse mentioned when we first got that permission to hunt the private land, Boom came down. He was there as a guidance and showing us, oh, this is that, wait, maybe here, maybe there. All of that stuff has just led to where we are now. But I say all this, it sounds really good, but we're still really bad at hunting right now, and we're still learning. So we've just got better spaces to do it, I think, and we're always open to learn. So
Mainly from the earlier days, we learned what not to do.
there you go.
We learned the way to do it by saying, oh, let's do it this way. And then, wow, that did not pan out the way we thought it would. And so then we use those as what not to do now. So
I train a lot in work, and this is what I'm saying to them. We as human beings are only here because of mistakes. Medical science is only here because of mistakes. We're only here now, you know, because of them. And you take all the bad things and, you know, you learn from them. But as long as you keep learning from them, that's the most important thing. That's what's going to get you to the top spot, and that's where we want to be. And we've got you as a mentor. We always say we're forever grateful for that. And I'm just so excited for what's to come, what we've got to learn, and what we're going to go through, you know.
Well, one thing I thought would be kind of fun to talk about is kind of, like I said, we've been hunting for several years now. I think 4 or 5, somewhere like that. I mean, pretty much since I became a cop.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I've got some video footage, and I thought it was early.
Yeah.
In fact, it surprised me how early
So
it was.
the first time you guys came out, I thought it'd be fun to go back to when you guys first came out and kind of tell each story. But the first time you guys came only to fall turkey hunt. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, that was a last minute thing. Ryan's a big turkey hunter, right? And so he's like, "Man, we gotta try to go get on these birds." And I said, "Well, let's try going fall turkey hunting." By the time we decided, there was no more gun tags. Like we missed the deadline, so we could only get a fall archery permit. And now it's like, where do we go? So me and Boom been talking. I goes, "Well, you just come out here." He goes, "I'll be bow hunting deer. Just come on out and we'll shoot some turkey." So he gives us a spot on his land. He goes, "All right, you're probably going to see some turkeys here." He says it's a blind that could fit 2 guys, but I don't know if you realized how big the 2 of us actually were.
Yeah,
At that
it was
point in
pretty
time.
tight.
It was tight, all right? And so we get back there, and we're, elbows and shoulders together, trying to figure out how we can draw, practicing draw and everything like that. And it was opening morning. We're planning on hunting this whole weekend, right? So Ryan, we're all, I get situated. Okay, yeah, I can draw my bow. Here we go.
So you guys were deer hunting that trip though too. I think that was the weekend. That was the year after,
well, it's
or the year after, because the first year you did have a fall turkey tag with a shotgun, and he had a bow tag.
Oh, was that? Yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
I was going a whole different way.
Yeah, I think the year before that, Jess, remember it was I remember exactly where it was. It was in the corner of this field
that
over
when you
here.
hit the
I've got the
jig?
video, and I've brought the video with me, so hopefully that'll be used soon. I was in a tree stand, never used the boat. Now, everyone, I want you to keep in mind that we're talking, this is 5 years ago. I only realised that there was an anchor point on the face last year, so keep that in mind when I tell a story. But great story that I've got, and I've got footage of this. I remember it was a Jake that went about 100 yards behind me. I had no vision of it, but then I looked to the right and I had a Jake 100 yards to me right. I had one decoy out in front of me at about 30 yards, and I was calling, and it was calling back to me. And this was my first experience with a turkey on a bow. I did get a shot off, and I did cut feathers. We went out there, we seen there was feathers everywhere. I think I must have just skimmed it.
Yeah, I searched the next day for an hour or so, didn't find any blood. What I think happened, because you were shooting fine at my house. Like, I was watching, you were shooting really good at 30 yards, but you were shooting without the GoPro attached. Then you attach your GoPro, and that added weight, and you shot low. So in my opinion, that extra weight in that GoPro had your shot go low.
That's true.
And that's what I think what happened, because your left and right was good.
Yeah.
I'm watching the video. Your left and right was good. I think that's why you shot low.
Just
I think, in my
dropped it a
opinion.
little bit low, but I did get the video that I brought that down for you there, so you can use that whenever you want.
So one thing I'm not guaranteed, but I've always wanted to. When I have buddies hunt, I always want to give them the opportunity. It's what they do with that opportunity is up to them. But that's the main thing. No matter who I hunt with, I want to give them a chance and opportunity.
Yeah, he's given me opportunities.
I've had a few opportunities.
I've messed every one of them up so far.
So that was the first year. The second year, going back to what Jesse was saying, they were actually deer hunting. Go ahead, Jesse.
Well, at first, we were not actually deer hunting. We had deer tags, right? We had the archery tags. We had archery turkey, but Boom was saying, like, just go for turkeys. And then we'll get to that point. Anyway, so we're really tight in this nice blind here, and we're trying to figure out our shooting lanes and everything. And I draw back, I'm just holding my bow up, and I let it go, fine. Ryan draws back, and we're just trying to deer line, and all of a sudden, snap. Well, he let go, right? He dry fired his bow, broke the strings, broke the cam, just done. right? So he's like, well, let's still hunt in the morning, and then we'll go talk to Boom and see what we can figure out. And so we didn't see any turkeys that morning, but a good, at the time, we thought it was a good deer came out, and it was probably a forky to us. It probably was forky.
I'm pretty sure it was a forky.
Yeah, and to us, we're like, oh my gosh. And so I'm sitting there, I'm like, well, Boom said just turkey, like no deer. And Ryan's like the little devil sometimes on your shoulder. He goes, do it. Shoot it. Come on. It's right there. Shoot it. And at the time, I had the bow was made in 1991.
It was an old bow, I remember.
And not made for me. It's something that my brother ended up giving me. And every time I shot it, it would just tear up my arm. It was not, nothing was tailorized to my shot or anything like that. Well, I took a shot. Thankfully missed, because I don't know what I would have done at that point in time if I actually hit the deer. What am I going to tell Boom? A.
We would have taken care of it.
B, like, I just don't even know at that point in time. And so then we actually come back in and we go to a bow shop, right? Can I tell it?
Yeah, you can tell him. Don might listen to this. He doesn't have the bow shop in Havana anymore, but he works at Don. But
Don,
he works
thank you very much. Your customer service is second to
He works
none.
at Presley still, so if you ever need bow done, go to Presley's Outdoors.
Yes, and
he's
ask
still
for
there.
Don. All right. So we go to the Havana bow shop, and as you guys may have heard, Ryan has a little bit of an accent, right? And this is where his accent played in his favor. So we go in there, we say, hey, we're down for the weekend hunting.
Sorry, Ryan's also got a personality. He's also a very good guy. I've got the accent, though, and I think that really helped. Thanks a lot, Don, though, and I'll mention something to you soon.
Yes, he is a very outgoing guy, but the accent plays, right? And so we go to the bow shop, and we tell him, hey, what can you do? This is what happened. We're here for the weekend. Don may have took that Ryan was in the States to hunt for the weekend only, and not for, like, he's from Chicago. Mm-hmm. He lives in Chicago. I think Don thought he lived in England still and was just over here to hunt. And so, Don, thank you, because you made the story. This is amazing. Don said, here, I'll lend you a bow to get you back out there. You need to get more opportunities, right? And so we borrowed this bow from Havana Bow Shop, went back out. Didn't see any turkeys. We had one deer behind us in that same tight blind that just was just hoofing right behind us, hopped right by the blind, ran across into the woods, and then snorted at us. And at the time, that's the most action we've ever seen. And so from there, we've just been hooked ever since, and just so excited to get back out and chase the whitetail.
You got any more to add to that?
Oh, mate, I've always got something to add, that. No, we were in a one-man blind. I remember that much. I remember it was pitch
to my
black.
defense, it did say two-man. So I just set it up, and that was it.
Yeah.
But then when I saw it, when I walked up, I'm like, yeah, my bad, guys.
Yeah, so it did say 2-man, but Jesse and I back then were probably the equivalent of maybe 3-4 men. So I was half out of the blinds at this point. My leg was sticking out the blind, but it was pitch black. There was 2 big fellas in this little blind, and I didn't dry fire on purpose. I at least knew that. But it did dry fire, and it snapped the whole thing. But I tell people this story all the time, and this is what sort of attracted me to America in the first place, going back to that. Americans have always been known as these outgoing, friendly, over the top, type of people, and I'm attracted to that type of person. So went into this shop and never ever.
You're attracted to that kind of person, but yet you live in Chicago.
Yeah, that's a different story, that one, mate. We'll be quiet on that one for now. No, but the offer, and when he said, dude, and you can borrow a bow, I was like, are you serious? Like, what? So I did leave my bow with him. He gave me a bow, and that to me was that was phenomenal, because I was so upset. I was really, really upset. I don't know whether you could know it, but I was so excited. I'd just got this new bow sent over from England. My dad and my brother and my mum sent this bow over. I was ready. I was so ready to use it. I think I just got an upgrade on the strings, and I had to do a few other upgrades as well. And before the sun even gets up, I've snapped this fucking bow, and I was devastated. I thought my whole weekend was done. And I was okay with it. I would have hunted with Jesse and Boom anyway, but I wanted to be in it to win it. So I got that bow, and that just made me whole. That just made me whole day. And we did get that shot. You did get that shot off of the deer, and that was the first deer I'd ever seen. The first deer I'd ever seen in real life. You know, so that was fantastic. Again, it's all experience. So I loved it, mate. Absolutely loved it, and I was hooked. And seeing what you had, and the land, and the property, and the deer, and the wildlife, and what you do to maintain
The process.
the whole process. And I was just like, man, I want in. I want to learn. I want to know about it. I want to get better at this trade, and hopefully one day we'll be there.
Well, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you guys, is that the year you guys shotgun hunted and had such good luck, or is that where you just killed the button buck?
I think that was just the button buck year.
Okay.
To be honest, that
So
the following year we had.
Is that when you killed?
3 years ago, that was when we had them four deer. We had 4 deer hanging with 3 hunters
Yeah, no, that was.
by day
Was
2.
that last year? We didn't get anything.
Yeah.
The year before.
I got 2.
The year before is when you killed your first deer with a bow.
Right. That would have been the year of good luck. That would have been the year we had the.
Is it?
Yeah, that's when Ash shot his incredible shot, by the way, by Ash. And then Ryan got 2, and then I got the 1.
Yeah, so been 2008. We got 2018. Is
Yeah,
when-
that sounds about right.
Yeah, so I think the next time we hunted together, at least hard, we had a couple waterfowl hunts in and there, and we had fun. But I think we killed one, maybe a goose or something.
No, I think we got 2 ducks. Yeah, we
did kill
the
some
one.
ducks.
The one goose that we've ever actually hit while goose hunting folded and started falling, and then just miraculously,
Yeah, I
God was
remember.
like, "You can survive," and just flew away.
Yep. So we haven't had the greatest waterfowl action here. We've had fun. We always have fun though when we go.
Always.
But then I think the next hunting adventure to talk to you guys about is when Jesse actually killed his first deer. So we actually weren't hunting the family farm. I have another farm by Bernie Dot. And anyway, we were hunting there, and we got into the deer. Well, I should, I guess, before that. They're having fun if you can't tell.
Black Rifle Coffee Company. We're not sponsored by them. We're not anything to do with them, endorsed by them. But man, this stuff's really good. And Boom's just introduced us to the espresso with cream from the Black Coffee Company. Cold coffee. This is my first swig. I'm sure I'll enjoy.
200 milligrams of caffeine. So if I get a little jittery, you know why?
It's good, man. It's smooth.
Really good.
Oh yeah.
I'm addicted to coffee though. I have a problem, but
Veteran owned. I like that. Veteran owned. I love that. Good source of protein. 100% Colombian.
so anyway, go off of that.
We're not sponsored, but apparently Ryan's trying.
Hey, I would love a sponsor for
I
them.
know how much he loves the Black Rifle coffee, and I know how much I appreciate in deer season when he has that coffee brewing, because I have never smelled coffee like it, and then it is the best thing you could ask for on them cold October, November, December mornings.
It's good. But so anyway, before we talked about Jesse getting his deer, actually, so we hunted out here at first, and Jesse and I actually hunted the lease that they hunt now, and we saw at that time the biggest buck Jesse had seen from a stand. Oh yeah. And it wasn't a giant, but from going from only seeing Forkies to Baskerats, and all of a sudden you see a 130 class buck, and it was a good buck. And I don't think it was definitely 3.5, probably even older because his body was bigger than what I thought he would be. But yeah, about a 130 class buck walked out in front of Jesse and I. Too far for a shot, probably 80 to 100 yards across the road. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, Jesse.
I could have died right then and there. All right. Like, it was just downpouring. And at that point in time, it did not have any waterproof things or water resistant gear on, nothing like that. So I'm kind of hiding we're hunting from the ground at that point in time. So I'm hiding behind some overhangs, and I'm miserable at that point in time. I'm going to be honest. I'm like, why am I doing this? What's going on? Is this actually where I want to be? And the moon goes, hey, buck. And I'm looking. So I perk up, and it's across the road. And it's just the biggest deer I've ever seen in my life, that close. And like you said, it's 80, 100 yards.
Yeah,
and it's just
I
across.
still haven't seen a buck that big. I haven't seen it.
So I'm sitting there. I'm like, come across. Just come across the road. Don't go that way. Don't move. No. And then I peeled off into the neighbor's cornfield. But
Yep.
ever since then, I that taught me that you got to go through the suck, and you got to endure that for your chance, right? Mm-hmm. Like you got to go through the cold, you got to go through the rain, you got to sit, and the longer you sit, the better opportunities, better chances you'll have to see big deer like that.
So then the next morning, we go super early to the Bernie Dot farm, and so we actually spooked deer going to this tree stand. We set up, it's a 2-man setup, so I can film. And right off the bat, like as soon as we get set up, deer are coming in the field, and a lot of deer. There were some small bucks; they were too far, but then this doe comes at range, comes in around 30 yards. I know Jesse kind of talked about this, I think, on the last podcast. But anyway, comes up, Jesse pulls back to take a shot, and he pulled the shot left. He missed. Luckily, again, I was able to see exactly what he did. It happens. The deer really wasn't that spooked. Ran off maybe 20 yards. Almost came back. Remember, came back at 40.
Yeah. That was way. Yeah.
Yep, came back to 40. So I thought we were going to get another shot, but it didn't happen. We went back to the house, watched the bears, which hurt our feelings real bad. Yeah. And we ate some food.
That's another podcast.
Yep. Ryan stayed out. I think you saw a big doe, but never got it was way too far.
Yeah, I remember that day. I was unfortunate. I remember Jesse getting it, and I think you text me on the way home. I had a very short time frame that day. I think I had to be back. I don't know, I had work or something the next day, and that's the unfortunate part, living so far away, you know, the 3-4 hour drive.
You can say where you live. It's okay. It's a safe space, right?
I know. Chicago, it's a long way from here, let me tell you that. But I had to get back, and I wanted to make the most of every single minute. So Jesse and Boom, they knew they were coming out back in the afternoon, so they decided to go watch the game, and I decided at that point to stay out. So I did see that one big one. It just didn't get close enough for a shot. By the time I was leaving, it was perfect time, and the guys were coming in, and that's when they went back out into the field.
Yeah, we went back to the field, and we had deer in front of us like immediately, because I remember like we were still setting up, kind of like not even like we're ready, but we're not really paying attention.
No.
And all of a sudden there was 2 does, if I remember right.
Yeah, there was 2 does that came out, and like I said, at that point in time, both of us weren't ready, and so we kind of just we blew that opportunity.
We'd been there for 20 minutes maybe.
Right.
And it was pretty warm.
Yeah.
Like there shouldn't be deer out yet. And boom,
then
there they were.
And then so we blew that. We missed those guys. And about 30 minutes later, an hour later maybe?
We had that forky come by and bust us too.
Yeah.
Because he was too close.
Right.
He was like, all of a sudden, boom, 10 yards away, and we weren't ready either.
But there was a deer, and this is, hopefully you'll see some videos today or something. Well, maybe not. But I'm more comfortable now in a tree stand than I was back then. And there was one deer during that afternoon hunt to where I just missed the opportunity because I was taking way too long to stand up and draw and get ready.
Yep, I do.
And I was way too shaky. It wasn't comfortable at that point in time yet. But that was probably my second time in a tree stand ever.
He was real shaky climbing up that tree stand.
Yeah, I just thought, like how much I weighed and that hitting the ground from that high, I was like, I might die. And so
that was the year I think I introduced you guys to lifelines.
Yes, that was the
game changer. Them lifelines, as big guys, we are worried when we're up in the tree stands. I don't know whether you've heard of them yet, but if you haven't had them lifelines, get on them. I think we've got 6 of them now.
Yeah, super easy to install, super easy to use. Like
Feel safe.
You need it's. To me now, it's a must-have to have in a stand.
Especially if you got a family.
Yeah, you got to, because I've tested it a couple of times. You could hang from those, and you're fine. So
yeah, it might hurt, but you're gonna live. That's the main thing.
You know, and we always talk about Boom likes to talk about he likes to put people on opportunities. That same day, looks me in the eye. Are you sure you want to get off and not hunt the afternoon? I said, Boom, I'm not sure, but I had to get back this day. I can't even remember what it was.
Yeah, because at the end of this hunt with Jesse, when we were walking out, there was 2 does right in front of that stand. That
he looked me in the eye and said, are you sure? I can almost guarantee that there's going to be deer there at this time. I said, Boom, it's 3-4 hours back. I've got to get back. And lo and behold, I did get back. But the beauty of it is, on the way back, the texts and the photos started coming through. And I knew that was Jesse's first bow kill. So that to me it was a win. It was a win for the team. I was happy that he got it down because even though I wasn't there, I knew I was going to get my first kill when he was with me or whether Boom was with me. Now he knows the information, and it's this whole thing about passing information on. It's so funny. I always think I believe strongly in like the evolution type thing, and you learn from your dad, who's a great hunter. He learned from his dad, and so on and so forth, and it goes right back for me anyway, personally, to the beginning of time. You know, when we were out there, we were hunter gatherers, and it's just being passed on, and now I feel a part of that.
Yep.
I can say I'm getting information. So either way, it was a win for the team, and I got to go home, and I got some lovely photographs on the way home. So it was a win for me as well.
Yep, I know. So yeah, so we had that deer that Jesse was able to get shot at, and man, he was down in the dumps. I could tell because you had that shot opportunity earlier in the day, and then that.
I thought that was it. Like the Boom said that week, and I'll get you guys a chance. And I thought that was my one chance, and they blew it, and I was like, I was so mad at myself for blowing that opportunity, just because again, it was like.
I know how it feels.
Yeah, you understand.
But we'll get to that. We'll get to that here soon.
But you know, it's like that miss, and every hunter's experienced it. You miss that deer when you really. That would have been my first bow kill, right? And just no, it wasn't a buck. No, it wasn't big. It would have been my first bow kill though, and everybody goes through it. They're like, you missed that chance, and you don't know if you're gonna get another one back that day.
The guy at County Market that day.
Oh yeah. That added salt to the wound.
What did he say?
So we're all in Camel going to the county market. I think we had to get something for lunch. And so this other guy goes, "Oh, you guys been out hunting, right?" Yeah. He goes, "Well, did you see anything?" And so I had to explain the whole situation. He goes, "Oh, yeah. Well, we've all been there."
And this guy's like, he's a nice guy, but old guy.
Yeah.
Got that voice tone. He's been smoking this whole life. It was just funny.
And it didn't make me feel better, him saying that we've all been there. You know, it's just like, he's kind of like, wow, man, you suck, is like what I heard. Like, that's what I heard in my head. Even though that's not how he intended, that's exactly where my head went. I was like, yeah, you're right, I do suck. Why am I doing this?
Of course, I'm laughing. That ain't helping nothing. But anyway, so yeah, sure
I
enough.
forgot about the guy at County Market. I completely,
Because your brain blocked it out. It was so traumatic for you. It's like, forget it, mate.
So, anyway, sure enough, a button buck came out, and that button buck took his sweet time getting to us.
Jesse loves a good button buck.
I think I'm up to 3 now.
Hey.
You know, I keep telling people that like just the meat tastes better, but I just get too excited, especially like
Deer.
Yeah, like opening weekend. I think was that in October, that button buck.
Yeah, it was October. It wasn't opening weekend, but it was
So,
early, it was October though.
My first button buck was my first deer ever. So I'm sorry, yeah, I'm gonna take that. First bow kill ever in October, and then this previous October, it was opening weekend, and I got a little excited, let arrow fly, and it did its job.
Yep.
And this is what I love about this team, because I'm still saying this now. I don't care if it's a button buck, whether it's a doe or whether it's a giant. It's the whole process of it. So I'm with you, Jesse, mate. I'm going to take it and put meat in the freezer.
Yep,
So.
kind of the way I always said, are you happy with it? As long as you're happy with it and it's not going to waste, you're going to eat it, that's all I care about. Do I pass on button bucks? Yeah, have I killed a few? Yes, I have. Like last year, I killed a buck without antlers. I thought it was a doe. Boom, killed a buck. It happens. But guess what? I'm still going to honor that animal, and I'm still going to eat them.
Yeah.
So,
And
and
now
I'm
I'm
so
actually-
happy with them.
And now I'm jealous because I'm the only one that hasn't had a button buck. So I need that as well. So I'll take that as well. I want to be in the club.
But so anyway, that buck ends up coming 33 yards. Jesse smoked it. Just perfect shot right through the heart. It ran 23 yards and died in front of us. So it was awesome. I was pumped. And then we'll just go ahead and move on to this last year, Ryan.
Yeah, let's go back to anyway a couple of years before that. No, but Jesse's first shotgun kill, I actually witnessed your deer go down. He was hunting up on the top of the ridge. I was down on the bottom of the ridge, and I think I was hunting with Ash at that point. There was 2 of us in the stand, and we've seen it.
Introduce Ash real quick.
Yeah, Well, I'm hoping that way. Arash, I keep on mentioning Arash, our kid, my brother. My brother Ashley lives in England. Big shout out to him. He's been coming out, I think it's about 5-6 years now. And I take my hat off to him though, because I mean he's flying out here. He's getting the tickets. He's coming out. He puts graft in. I mean, when he's here, he works. He's dragging. He's helping. He's just soaking himself into the whole culture and immersed himself into it. So big shout out to our Ash. You're not here now, and I know you missed last year because of COVID, but don't worry, brother, you're going to be out here soon, and we're going to be right back at deer camp again, eating Jesse's burgers over a nice fire with deer hanging in the background. But that was it. We heard you shoot that time, but maybe a minute later or something, there's a deer. So I pulled up my shotgun, facing me, walking down the ridge, and we were looking at it thinking, shit, is this thing diseased or something? It starts wobbling. We're like, what the? And the next thing we see the deer fall and tumble. And then maybe about 5 minutes later, we just see this blaze orange walking, like, what the fuck? What's he doing there? Jesse, what are you doing? Dude, I think I shot it. Oh, okay. Keep walking. And then we led them to it, so we got to see the explanation of that deer. So that was
pretty
awesome
cool
as well.
So, no lie, that deer snuck up on me, right? So I'm sitting in my stand. I'm cold. I'm miserable. And I'm watching these two birds just kind of fly around. And the next thing I know, like I look to my right, and there's this deer, and I shoot, and I'm like, I saw it jump and it just took off. I'm like, oh my God, did I miss what happened? You know, you're supposed to wait a little bit, you know, everything like that. No, I just went down my stand as fast as I could. At this point in time, I'm wearing a construction harness for the deer stand, like this bright yellow, blue, orange, heavy duty construction harness that I got, and went instantly down and then looked for this deer, found a little bit of blood, and then Ryan goes, we found it, here it is. And I was like, oh God, it was so exciting. But yeah, let's talk about your last season.
Yeah, but before we talk about that anyway, just go back 1 minute, you know, and every hunter will understand this. Did you hear, Jess, you know, it snuck up on me, I was just watching a couple of birds, but every hunter knows what that means, right?
Sleeping.
Yeah, he was fucking asleep. He was asleep. That's why it snuck up on him. Not unlike a good sleep in the blind, though. Yeah, so, I mean, they keep mentioning some. I knew I was going to have to get to this point eventually, guys. But I had a great season last year, and I didn't shoot anything. And I think I mentioned this to you maybe in December or something. Last year was the most I'd ever hunted. It was the longest I'd put into the field, whether that would be prep work or hunting itself. I'd hunted in my coldest temperature. I'd seen the most action, I'd seen the most deer, but what Jesse and Boom are referring to here, I went through that as well last year, and it's haunted me. But I think it's haunted me in a good way, and I mentioned this in the last podcast, so I won't spend too much time on it. But I was in a tripod. I had an opportunity. I think 2 deer came out. One was a 40 for sure, and then the other one was like 4 points, maybe 5. It was skinny. 2 of them were in front of me, 20 yards. Now, keep in mind, I only learned after the fact this whole anchor point. I'm only getting into bow hunting, but I absolutely love it. So I didn't know about the anchor points. It walked out in front of me. It stopped 20 yards, pulled back, took the shot. Man, my arrow missed it, went underneath it, stuck into the floor. I'm like, oh my God, my heart's pounding out my chest, so dead slow, I'm shaking like a shitting dog. Put another arrow in me bow. So I'm like, okay. So obviously at this point I didn't know any better, but completely different anchor points. So I adjusted like the bow, thinking, well, I hit low, let me bring it up a bit, but Boom explained, well, it was actually Boom's dad that was like, are you using an anchor point? So he explained to me, like, if you use a different anchor point every time, then your shot's going to be different every time. So I'm thinking in my head that I'm adjusting the shot because I just shot low. So I thought, okay, I'm adjusting. I've got another arrow in. Nice deep breath. Went right over this deer. I'm like, what the? I had no clue what. But the deer did a little hop at this point, but it was still in the vicinity. I thought, it's not going to give me another chance, is it? give me another chance, guys. That one missed as well. I don't know what happened, but anyway, I missed all of them. So I thought that was it. I thought the whole camp was over. Just like Jesse said, you're so depressed, you're angry, you're thinking that's going to be your only shot. I was upset. But I think it was the next day that...
No, you got the Forky was like an hour later or so.
Oh my God! So it wasn't even the next day. Thanks, Jess. Okay, same day. I think we went back out at some point.
No, you didn't.
And I'm sitting in my tripod, and Jesse's thinking it's Afghanistan or something with all that. He's thinking, what's
Jesse,
going on here?
Grab me a beer.
Another beer for the boss, lad. Another book comes from behind me. This one did sneak up on me, though. I must admit, it did sneak up on me. And you think that you're going to be able to hear these deer coming through. No, I didn't hear this one. So this one got to about 12 yards. So I drew back and went, F-dump. Now I've hit this deer, Boom. I've hit this one. It was far back. My head was telling me it was a gut shot. So I was happy. I thought, I've got a good chance of harvesting here. The beauty of this one was, though, Boom, at this point, Jesse was hunting maybe 50 yards over the way. Like, we couldn't see each other, but he was hunting over the way. So the deer actually got hit and then ran right past Jesse's stand. So it was more of a communication with Jesse saying about, where was the shot? So we did some talking after the fact, and Jesse confirmed that it was a lot further back. He thought it was the leg. I thought it was the stomach. Then our master at arms, Boom, came round, took one look at the blood and said,
muscle.
Yeah, that's a muscle one, that one. So at that, but we still looked. We still looked. We've got to give that dignity, and I think we spent maybe an hour and 15 minutes.
We gave it 2 hours at least minimum before we went because I told him like it's gonna a couple things was gonna happen. One, what did happen was what I thought is it's a muscle hit. Deer's gonna be fine. Deer's just gonna work it off and work that area. As long as it doesn't get infected, that deer's gonna survive. Second thing that could have happened, maybe he hit an artery, so maybe he went out and died. That's what we were hoping for. Third thing, he's hurt bad. He's going a little ways. He's gonna bed down. We're hopefully going to get a follow-up shot. I thought maybe that third option, like I thought he'd probably going to live, but I was hoping maybe for that third option, get a follow-up shot.
You did bring the crossbow out just in case of that?
Because we knew something was off.
Yeah.
I hadn't taken Ryan back to shoot yet, so we didn't know if maybe his bow's off. Is it him? We don't know. So I'm like, we'll bring the crossbow. Mm-hmm. It's sighted in, put the crosshairs on, pull the trigger. So that was the plan. But again, we searched for over an hour, followed blood the whole time. He never bedded down. He was going uphill, downhill, side hill, jumping over logs, jumping over a creek. Yeah. And actually, when he jumped the creek, that's where we lost the blood.
Mm-hmm. I don't actually think I've told either of you this, but there was another massive learning part for me in the development as a hunter for me that day, and I don't think I've ever spoke to you about this, so this might be the first time. My patience sometimes, like I'm one of these people, I can't wait. And you speak to my wife, I can't get surprises. I need to know what I'm getting. Mm-hmm. I'll ask what I want for Christmas or for my birthday, so I want it now. Mm-hmm. If I want something, I want it now. I don't want to wait. Mm-hmm. That 2 hours that Boom made me wait, and when I say made me wait, he had to make me wait because otherwise I would have been like Jesse out the tree stand and running after this deer. So it was about 2 hours. It was probably the longest 2 hours as a hunter I've ever had, and I'm itching. And
I knew it was killed. Yeah, I knew it was.
So he knew anyway. This bastard knew about it anyway. It was killing me. I wanted to go. Let's go. But it really made me take a step back. And now, I always think about this. Like, I always think about it all the time. You always got a review. And I think about it, it's so true. And what Boom explained to us, again, we're all about education, is that if I shot that deer and made a bad shot, then there's a good chance that the deer's going to bed down at this point. Now, the last thing that we want to do here is spook that deer and get it running again. It's not fair, you know what I mean? So what Boom's explaining is we give enough time to allow the animal to either expire or recover from the trauma that it's just faced, let's say, and then, maybe get a second shot at it. But it was difficult. It was hard. I wanted to go for it. Mm-hmm. I was thinking it's my first bow kill. I want to get this. Mm-hmm. It was a buck. I was blessed to get this fourth, fifth opportunity in the same day. I've never spoke to a hunter that's had them opportunities like I got that day. So that 2 hours, and I don't think I've ever spoke to you, but now you know it was the longest 2 hours. And it took me a long time to sort of understand. But now, you know, you've got to listen, you've got to learn, and that's... And it was a killer. And you've just said that you noticed it.
I could
so
tell.
you heard this guy.
Just in the text
this motherfucker
message.
noticed it, and he was loving every minute of it.
I was across the farm hunting. I'm thinking, what in the hell is going on over there?
I think you got that on footage. I think you've got like you saying like, I'm getting my phone's blowing up, and like, what is going on? Like, he's so shocked. Yeah, that's a redneck and a redcoat guys.
So anyway, that trip ended well though. Luckily, I kept playing another beer. Welcome back, guys. But that trip ended well. I was playing chicken with this buck. I kept having a buck show up on my trail cameras, but he kept on switching trail cameras on me.
Yeah.
So I'd go hunt where I think he's at. Boom, he showed up with the other one. I never did catch up with him. He wasn't a giant, but
You were getting them text messages when we were waking up.
Yeah.
Of that it, and I think that was the first time I sort of was introduced to these cell
Yeah,
cams.
yeah.
And me and Jesse were like, dude, there's cameras that text your phone.
It's
And we're
awesome.
like, what?
it's awesome.
And I think,
But
not
it
long
is
after we
aggravating.
got-
Like I said, I'd get the picture, boom, go hunt that spot, not there. Get a picture of different there, go hunt the spot, not there. Just playing that game. Finally, that last day, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna hunt this one stand because I know it's a good stand. Sure enough, I was able to get a doe down, which that was big for me. That doe was super important because I was going through a dry spell. So I did not kill a deer in 2019. Yeah, 2019, I did not kill a deer. Well, 2020, that was my first doe, which the year before I killed 5 animals that year.
Was that
6
similar to
animals.
us? Was it like 2018 we had that killer camp, and then the next year we got nothing? Oh no.
Yeah.
No, the only year we've ever been like skunked fully, no, because I got a bow kill last year. Last year was our first year being skunked at shotgun season. And we should have had one, but
Yeah, we talked about that last one.
bad shell, and we'll leave it at that for now.
But yeah, so anyway, that doe was big to me just because it ended my dry spell, which then I ended up having a good year. I killed 3 deer altogether, which we had some of it, some deer meat earlier today for lunch. That was really tasty.
Tell them how you did it, because this is one of the best sandwiches I've had after a long day's work out in the field.
And I had 2 of them, and I'll be honest, I wanted another one. I
We have more.
I would have ate another one.
So essentially, everybody likes deer salami. I don't know really anybody who doesn't like deer salami, but it's good. But what you need to do is slice it real thin, throw it in a hot skillet, no butter, no nothing. Just throw it
baby.
right in the skillet. Start browning them up. Put them on toast of your choice. Slice cheese on top. That's usually all I do. I know they added some mayonnaise and some ketchup, right, to yours, Ryan?
Oh yes.
And you can do that in the kitchen. You can do that in a duck blind. You can do it in a deer blind. You can do it however you want to do it. But I'm telling you, something about toasting that salami. I don't know what
And we
it is.
had jalapeno
Cheese.
salami.
Yes.
Okay.
I had one of each.
It is tasty.
Yeah.
Tasty. So anyway, that was one of the deer I killed last year. And then let's see. I know we're ready for this year. I'm trying to think. There was something else I was going to ask you, Ryan. I forget what it was. Oh no, I want to end it with Jesse's buck.
I think you got the book, haven't you?
Yeah. So I got the buck. Should have brought it down for a prop like Ryan likes to do, but I'll get the scene set.
Well, I'll put a picture in here on the video version.
Here we
You can
go.
see it.
Yeah, so I came back for, I think it was a Sunday morning, and
Pretty sure.
been itching to get out. And
It was hot.
I made a deal with my wife. I'll go hunt Sunday morning and just be the morning, and I'll come home. Shouldn't take that long, I'll be out till about noon and come home. And it was a warm one the weekend we chose. I think it was about 70 degrees. So I went down here not expecting.
For early November.
Right.
And I was mad. It was my rope vacation. It's supposed to be I wait for it all year, and it's hot. It's not happy.
Yeah. So I'm texting Boom before. She goes, "Yeah, man, come on down." To be honest, I don't think we're gonna really see anything. It's just gonna be too hot. And I was like, "Well, this is very limited opportunity, so I'm going to go still. So get here, meet Boom, we talk game plan. I walk back to the tripod stand.
Same stand Ryan had all his
same
action.
stand Ryan had all his action on. And I put some dough estrus on my boots before my walkout. And so I get up, get a camera set up, get my bow set up, and I'm sitting maybe 15, 20 minutes. Next thing I know, I'm like looking through as the sun's just rising. I'm like, is that an animal moving through the brush there?
Upstairs.
And so I'm looking, and it's like, yeah, there it is. There's a deer moving through the brush. As I'm watching, it's getting lighter and lighter. And all of a sudden, I see there's tines on it, right? Because, I've gotten butt bucks. I don't think I've actually gotten a doe yet, but I've gotten butt bucks. So I'm seeing these tines. I'm like, oh, okay. It's at least has antlers. It will count as a buck tag, which I've never used before. So here we go. And it's moving its way on this brush line. And this is my opportunity to draw back. So then I draw back. And then as it gets into an opening where I have a shot, which is about 17 yards from me, it's actually quartering away from me, like looking to go the other way. And this is where I'm like, that the decision time as a hunter. It's not the shot I want, right? And I have this gut feeling he's going to come down this little trail in front of me because we've had a lot of pictures of deer going down this trail in front of this tripod stand. And so I was actually patient. As Ryan said, patience is a virtue and patience is a key. So I was patient and I waited.
It really is important, isn't it?
Yeah, because it was not the shot I wanted him cornering away. So then, lo and behold, it feels like I'm holding this thing for 12 minutes. And it was probably a 2-minute thing, if that. And so then he actually comes right down the trail, gets to about 15 yards. I let the arrow fly, and he took off. And he took off with such determination. I was like, oh my gosh, I missed him. I just scared him away. He stops and he looks back at me. I'm like, oh, I missed him. And now he's just kind of giving like a, hey, dude, like, what are you doing? Kind of look to me. And then all of a sudden he starts wobbling. And as soon as he started wobbling, I knew I had him. And so I'm texting Boom like, deer down, buck down. I'm like, oh, it's like a basket rack 6, I think. That's about it. So I'm sitting there glassing the whole time, waiting for it to expire as it's collapsed and just seeing if anything else comes out. I'm like, oh, it might be a little bit bigger than a basket rack 6. I think it's a big one. And I didn't realize until I actually got out there, just to me, how big the deer was.
It was a good 8. It was a
Right?
good 8. It was
Massive to me.
Yeah, it was-
I think
yeah.
it's a big
It's
thing.
anywhere between 2.5 to 3.5 year old buck. A good, decent 8-pointer. Probably 120, if I had to guess. For your first buck, it was a great buck, no doubt about it. And yeah, I couldn't believe it because like I said, it was legal, but it was pretty early. And all of a sudden, my phone's blowing up. Buck down. I'm like, what? Like you could have been there too long.
No, and I wasn't either. And so I texted the wife and said, hey, got a buck down. Might be a little shorter day than I thought. Well, then I spent a lot of time learning how to skin the deer, learn how to properly cape it, everything like that to get it, I'm getting it mounted. My first buck ever, very beautiful, typical, one of the most typical I've ever seen. And so we learned how that whole process. Then just a lot of time chatting about that whole experience again. And I didn't want to leave because I wanted just to be in that moment. So I ended up getting home later and intentionally, anticipated, but it was awesome. It was one of the best times of my life.
And your uncle's
Yep.
doing that mount for him,
Yep.
isn't he? So that should be coming soon. Huh?
Yep, I'm going to take the rack over there to him sometime this week, and hopefully he gets to it here soon. But so I was pretty happy with my photo skills. I had some good pictures of Jesse in that book.
Yeah.
But the best picture with that book, though, is Jesse's boy holding the antlers up. That was the best picture.
Yeah, that was special. That was something that Boom's uncle, who was doing the mount, went above and beyond with me to let me take the antlers home that day so I could show my boys. So I walked in, big chest, super proud of, me, Hunter, me, can bring home, And I showed it to my oldest, Marshall, and even my middle child now, Walter, youngest at the time. And they both just couldn't get their hands off it. You know what I mean? They just kept holding it up. Marshall did it. There's an awesome picture out there. I'm holding up these antlers, just smiling big. And that's what it's all about. I want to be able to give him those opportunities. I can't wait for him to get his first deer, his
Yeah,
first
we'll have
buck,
some-
first sit, whatever it is. I just can't
You're
wait.
going to catch some fish tomorrow. That's the plan.
Yes.
I can't wait till all three of them are big enough to help us drag these deer out. Just before we move on there, Boom, you know, Jesse mentions a couple of things, and I wanted, you know, he mentioned about, you know, he put doe estrus on his boots going into it, and I love that idea. We've been doing that ourselves.
Don't make it.
Are we fine?
He's had a few. No, but I would like maybe one day to have a conversation about this and maybe hear your thoughts, and maybe even get some people to call in. I'd like to hear what other hunters are saying about this. We do it. We think, you know, it's a disguise more as an attractant. Well, that's my perception anyway. I think it's more of a disguise.
So our big thing, the conversation that Ryan and I always go back to about scent killer and attractants and everything, is that we've been on golf courses before. You know, everybody's out there, cigars, doing all this stuff, and there's deer. Like, you could get as close as you want to these deer. You know what I mean? So is it really a scent? What is it? And so that's where we always have those conversations. So it'd be nice to just say, this is why you need to do it. Here's the reason and why it works.
You know, and every hunter hears them stories, you know. I've been smoking ciggies in a tree stand and a deer's walk by. In fact, going back to our story from earlier, if you remember, when we went to the bow shop where I was borrowed that bow, one of the guys that was in there said, "Oh man, I shot one of my biggest bucks last year, but I'm sitting in a tree stand and it needs the shit. So I climbed up my tree stand, you know, took my pants down, I squatted, I'm shitting on the bottom of my tree stand. And next thing, my biggest buck I've ever seen walks by and smokes the buck while I'm having a shit with a cigarette in my mouth." So we always have this conversation.
I saw one on I think it was Illinois Deer Hunting Facebook page that said, like, here's my scent killer. And it was a package of Swisher Sweets. And it's just like, probably just opportunity.
My opinion on that is, number one, you got to play the wind. That's the most important thing. Play the wind. That is 90% of it. Scent killer, scent, all that stuff, I think it just buys you time. It might buy you 5 seconds, and those 5 seconds might be what you need. That's how I envision it. So that's why I scent, because it might just add seconds to that deer. Actually, you know, that deer might get downwind, and they're like, you know, instead of just taking off, it might just hesitate. What is that? And that might be all I need. So, you
know, that's a really good point. And every second counts when you're in the fields. You know, in my head, I wear it because I'm thinking, well, it's probably going to mask human scent. Others may use it, maybe thinking it's going to trail a deer in as an attractant. You know, you're saying it might buy you a few seconds. So I don't know, maybe one day, you know,
it's an argument.
Calling in, and I just want to hear what people have got to say. But one more thing before we move on, you know, Jesse mentioned again about patience, and this is something again that's special, and non-hunters, in my opinion, don't understand this. I get mocked a lot, and you can vouch for me, because our wives give us such a hard time. Well, they used to. They give us such a hard time. You know, what are you...
How can you call yourself a hunter if you haven't brought anything back?
I mean, why have you been out there for so long and you hunt all the time?
By the way, that's not actually how our wives sound.
Not at all.
We love you guys.
No, but, you know, he was right. He said he had to use patience, but, you know, non-hunters will mock. And it does hurt. It does hurt a little bit, because you're thinking in your head, man, I've just sat out in minus 20 degrees Celsius in a snowstorm, hoping to get it. But I think Lindsay's uncle, you know, I was upset, you know, with him as well. You know, you go through the motions, and he turned around and all he said literally was, well, it's not grocery shopping. If you want turkey, you can go get turkey. If you want deer, you can go buy that. It's not grocery shopping. And it always makes me think, again, looking at the bigger picture of this, the world is massive. It's huge. Even your property, Boom, is huge to me. And it makes me realise how small we really are. And people think, you know, we're everything. We're not. We're tiny. And there's little me sitting in a tree stand in this precise location, and a deer has got to come within 20 yards of me, and there's millions and millions and millions of acres. You know?
I don't care how great of a hunter you are, right? You can have all the fancy tools. You can have everything planned to a T.
Yeah.
It's still a little bit of luck to have an animal walk in front of you.
Yep.
And that's what, as Ryan said, non-hunters don't understand. It's not just that simple of going out into the woods, finding a tree, sitting down, and going to it.
Yep. You're just trying to add percentages. Every time you're learning, you're just trying to add a little bit more percentage in my
That's
favor.
exactly how you should say it.
Yeah,
Boom.
that's a good
So,
one. I've never thought
trying.
of that. Whatever we can do to increase your percentage is a good thing. But yeah, I think people have just got it. You go buy yourself a gun, sit your ass by a tree, and then you're guaranteed to come home. It's not that. So, non-hunters, if you're listening out there, we do put a lot of work in. And it's a whole year process for that one shot.
And you'll see some of that work in a later episode.
You will.
Come soon.
Yep. I think actually we're going to put in some of that work now. We're going to shoot our bows for a little bit, make sure everything's good, and probably end the day that way. But I know Jesse will be back here tomorrow. We're going to catch some fish. Ryan, unfortunately, won't be able to hang out, but I'm sure
Well, we're working on Ryan.
we'll get him, maybe.
No, he'll be going home.
But, yep, hopefully we catch some fish tomorrow, and if anything, you will see both these guys in October. So I'm sure we'll be doing more podcasts and hopefully having some beers over at Dead Deer. So
I hope so. I cannot wait. And thank you again for inviting us on. We appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed listening, and there'll be plenty more where this came from.
Yeah, thanks again for having us, Boom. Can't wait for October to come. And you're right, I'm hoping that we have 1-2 does down and we could just be sitting there having a podcast, having a few, and
It'd be
then
awesome.
talking about it. It's going to be a great
awesome.
deer season.
And I think to end this show, I think you should do your trick, Jesse. And we'll see you next time.
See you next time.
see you guys. Appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a review. Bye.